The Fiat 850 is a small rear-engine, rear-wheel drive car produced by Italian car manufacturer Fiat between 1964 and 1973. History Overview Its technical design was an evolution of the very successful Fiat 600. The internal name for the Fiat 600 development project was Project 100, and consequently, the internal Fiat code name for the 850 project was 100G. The engine of the 850 was based on that of the Fiat 600, but had its capacity increased to 843 cc's. The 850 came in two versions, Normale with 34 horsepower and Super with 37 horsepower. The maximum speed was approximately 125 km per hour. While it was not a large step forward in technical development, it possessed a certain charm with its large rolling eyes and its short tail, in which the engine sat. Variants The 850 family included several body styles with similar technical components underneath. Fiat 850 Special, a Euro-revised version of the 850 sedan, launched in 1968. It shared the 47-horsepower engine of 850 Coupe copyright, and offered front disc brakes, sport steering wheel and improved trim. With a 25% increase in power, plus disc brakes nestled behind 13 inches wheels, it was a sport sedan in the vein of the BMW 2002, albeit on a smaller scale. Fiat 850 Familiare The Familiare was a boxier and slightly larger heir to the Fiat 600 Multipla. It featured space for 7 passengers in 3 rows, which made it suitable for groups including children and thin adults. It was too small to accommodate in comfort 7 large adults. The 850 Familiare continued in production till 1976, long after the saloon version of the 850 had been replaced by the Fiat 127. In 1976 the Fiat 900T was introduced, retaining most of the body panels of the 850 Familiare, but featuring the 903cc engine from the Fiat 127. The 900T benefited from significant enhancements in 1980. Being now renamed 900e. At least in the UK the 900 series camper vans were badged as Fiat Amigo. Production finally ended in 1985. Fiat 850 Coupe copyright The Coupe copyright was introduced for the first time 1965 on the Geneva Motor Show and had the original 843cc engine producing 47 horsepower. The maximum speed at the time was 135 km per hour. Fiat 850 Spider At the same time as the Coupe copyright, Fiat also introduced the convertible sporty 2-seater Spider, with the original 843cc engine tuned to produce 49 horsepower, which allowed it to reach a top speed of 145 km per hour. The body was designed and built by Bertone in its Grugliasco, Turin plant. The folding roof section made of fabric could be stowed away completely under a rear flap. The Bertone design also featured smooth, essential lines and simple yet elegant details, such as the recessed headlamps equipped with tilted plexiglass covers to follow the lines of the wings, and the dihedral side panels inspired by Bertone's 1963 Corvette Estudo. This engine ran counterclockwise, a unique feature compared to other engines. At the time of their introduction into the United States, the sedan, Coupe copyright, and Spider were marketed with a reduced capacity, high-compression 870cc engine in order to beat U.S. emissions regulations at the time, which applied only to engines equal to or larger than 50 cubic inches. Compression was raised from 8.81 to 9.21, requiring premium octane fuel. In order to separate the sportier variants Coupe copyright and Spider from the basic version, apart from the increase of engine performance, the equipment was also extended and adapted to the higher expectations. Both received sport seats, a sport steering wheel and round speedometer. Spider even received a completely rearranged instrument panel. The front drum brakes were replaced with disc brakes, although drum brakes remained on the rear wheels. In 1968, Fiat revised the successful Spider and Coupe copyright again and gave them an even stronger engine with 903 cc's and 52 horsepower. They were called Sport Spider and Sport Coupe copyright. The Sport Spider body stayed essentially the same, but with a restyled front. The headlamps were moved forward slightly and the glass covers were eliminated, giving the car a frog-eye look, and the original flush front turn indicators were replaced with units hung below the bumper. Several limited special edition versions of the Spider were offered, including the Racer featuring a body-colored metal hardtop and the Razor Berlinetta featuring a black vinyl hardtop. There was a minivan and transporter model as a successor of the world's first minivan, Fiat 600 Multipla, which was later renamed to 900T and likewise received the larger capacity of 903 cc's. Production of the Cooper Copyright S ended in 1971, of the sedan in 1972, and of the Spiders in 1973, after altogether nearly 2.3 million models were sold worldwide, 140,000 of which were Spiders. Under the name Seat 850, it was however further produced for some years in Spain, also in a four-door variant. As a successor, the Fiat 127 was brought to the market in 1971, which combined the 903 cc's pushrod OHV engine with the Fiat 128 transmission and suspension components in a fashionable fast and later hatchback two-door sedan. Between 1978 and 1983, the U.S. government issued a highly unusual recall for the Fiat 850 going back 10 years for rust problems. In 1967, Road and Track called the Fiat 850 Cooper Copyright one of the handsomest, best balanced designs ever seen on a small car. Non-Fiat derivatives Seat 850 Spanish manufacturer Seat also built the 850 into the 1970s. They also offered a four-door saloon derivative and two different iterations. The Fiat 850 was also produced under the name Prin Fiat in Lovech, Bulgaria, on the basis of complete knockdown kits between 1967 and 1971. Abarth Abarth produced several tuned versions of the Berliner, Cooper Copyright, and Spider, with ever-increasing displacements. These belong to the OT series of Abarth cars, Euro standing for Omologated Turismo or Touring Homologated, which also included two-seater sports racing cars. Fiat Abarth OT 850, Abarth's first 850 derivative, introduced in July 1964. Its Type 201 engine was the regular saloon's 847 cc's inline-four, brought from 34 picoseconds to 44 picoseconds. Top speed went up accordingly from 120 km per hour to 130 km per hour. The OT 850 could be distinguished from the standard Fiat model by its Abarth badging, an asymmetric font ornament with the Abarth shield on the right-hand side and the Fiat Abarth script on a red field on the left, and wheels with cooling slots. From October of the same year it became available in two guises, OT 850 Ultra 130, almost unchanged from the initial model, and OT 850 Ultra 150, with a 53 picoseconds engine, front disc brakes and a 150 km per hour top speed. Fiat Abarth OT 1000, introduced in October 1964. Engine displacement increased to 982 cc's, it produced 61 picoseconds and 79 Nm of torque. Front brakes were changed to discs. Fiat Abarth OT 1000 Cooper Copyright and Spider, introduced in October 1965. Compared with the saloon version, the engine was a more powerful Type 202, producing 62 picoseconds and 79 Nm of torque. Top speed was 155 km per hour for the Cooper Copyright and 160 km per hour for the Spider. The Cooper Copyright was facelifted in November 1968 concurrently with a regular Fiat 850 Cooper Copyright, receiving a full-width grille and twin round tail lamps. Fiat Abarth OT 1000, launched alongside the OT 1000 Cooper Copyright, and based on the 850 Cooper Copyright body shell as well. Its Type 200 engine had an all-new Abarth-designed cylinder head with valves arranged in a V instead of parallel, hence the R in the name, standing for radial. The combustion chambers were shaped as two spherical caps, one around each valve. There was an inlet duct per cylinder, each fed by one choke of the two twin Solex carburetors. Abarth claimed an output of 74 picoseconds at 6,500 rpms and a top speed of 172 km per hour for the road version. The OTR was set apart from the OT1000 Cooper copyright by a rectangular front grille bearing the Abarth badge, needed for the front-mounted radiator. At the 1965 Turin Motor Show, Bertone showed on its stand an one-off OTR 1000 Berlinetta, based on the 850 Spider but with a fixed roof and a front radiator opening. Suffering the competition of less expensive and less complex OT models, production of the OTR 1000 ended with the arrival of the restyled 850 Cooper copyright in 1968. Fiat Abarth OTS 1000, introduced in April 1966. OTR 1000 body shell, but standard head OT 1000 engine with output up to 68 picoseconds and top speed to 160 km per hour. FIA homologated it in the GT class in 1966. Abarth later developed several modifications, including a new inlet manifold for two twin-choke Solex carburetors. This gave birth to the OTSS 1000 or OT 1000SS. Both OTS and OTSS were restyled in November 1968 like the OT 1000. Fiat Abarth OT 1300, November 1966 launch. Visually identical to the OTR 1000 save for the widened wheels, it used a Fiat 124 derived engine displacing 1,280 cc's. Engine power was 74 picoseconds and top speed 172 km per hour, both the same as on the OTR 1000, but thanks to the simpler engine the car was cheaper. Restyled in 1968 together with the 1.0-litre OTs. Fiat Abarth OT 1600 Mostro, extreme variant based on the 850 saloon body, unveiled at the October 1964 Turin Motor Show and nicknamed Mostro, Monster. It was fitted with a Type 236 1592 cc's twin-cam, twin-spark engine from the Fiat Abarth 1600 sport racing car. The 1.6-litre put out 155 picoseconds and top speed was 220 km per hour. The rear wings were greatly enlarged to clear wide rear alloy wheels. Fiat Abarth OT 2000, introduced in February 1966, it was based on the 850 Cooper copyright but powered by a 2-litre engine. It differed visually from the 850 Cooper copyright in having a barred grille between the headlights, a split front bumper flanking a spare wheel which projected forward below the grille, widened front and rear tracks and wings, and a vented front bonnet. The 1946 cc's twin-cam four-cylinder produced 185 picoseconds and could propel the car to 240 km per hour. Francis Lombardy Grand Prix Italian coach builder designed and built a small sports car with fastback Cooper copyright body based on the 850, the 1968 Francis Lombardy Grand Prix. The car was also marketed by OTAS as the OTAS 820, equipped with Giannini engines, and in an Abarth version, the Abarth Scorpion. Michelotti Shellette The Michelotti Shellette was a beach car based on the 850. Styled and built by Giovanni Michelotti. Designed in the mold of Gaia's 500 and 600 base Jolly, it was a more useful proposition, being faster and better equipped. Only about 80 were built, with some of the early ones using DAF underpinnings. The Shellette had the more powerful 47 picoseconds engine of the special Cooper copyright. Seatta Spring The Seatta Spring was a two-seater roadster built by Seatta on the basis of the 850. Introduced in 1967, it featured retro styling with a mock-upright radiator grille, separate wings and headlights, and running boards. In Italy it was initially priced at 795,000 lira, 255,000 lira cheaper than Fiat's Bertone 850 Spider. Top speed was 125 km per hour. Notes. References. External links, Fiat 850 and Seatta Spring fan site with strips, documentation and collectors, Fiat 850 Spider restoration and fan site, Italian club Fiat 850 Spider, documentation and other, Fiat Shellet Registry.